Hey there. I just wanted to send you guys a note and let you know some things that you can do at home really quickly while you're working at home, things to kind of help some of the soft tissue trigger points and adhesions and muscle knots that you're feeling. As you know, one thing that we do recommend for self-care at home is using a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball or a racquetball. Golf ball, no, but anything that has a little bit of a give to it, that is good. I wanted to demonstrate a few things. I've had a couple of requests come in on people not really sure how to use their tennis ball the most efficiently and what are some good ways, especially if you're working from home right now, so you have a little extra stress in your neck and your shoulders. So I wanted to demonstrate here just a little bit of some things that you can do. So with your tennis ball, one of the main areas that you can focus in on is the shoulder blade, scapula area, specifically the rhomboid muscles and the spinal muscles that are housed between the spinous process, so the bony part of your spine, and then the flat bony shoulder blade, also called the scapula. So in between there are a bunch of different muscles. We have several layers that are all kind of stacked on top of each other, and when one layer gets tight, usually the other layers get tight as well and can cause ischemia, which is a lack of blood flow, which kind of creates those knots, and then the trigger points as well will follow. So one way to increase blood flow in an area and get a little bit more movement is by applying direct pressure. Now, a tennis ball is going to be wider pressure and more diffuse pressure than specific trigger point work in your neuromuscular therapy sessions, but this is a really great kind of go-to in the interim. So to work on the rhomboid muscles between the spinous process and the shoulder blade. They're diagonal muscles that connect the two, usually very sensitive on people. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take a tennis ball and you're gonna put it against the wall. And you're gonna find that area. You don't wanna be rolling on bone. You wanna be rolling between the spine and that shoulder blade. And then you're gonna up and down, and this is with your arm in a normal, natural position. And when you find a really good spot, you can push against it. Take a couple deep breaths in. Again, with your abdomen, you want to be breathing with your abdomen. That takes pressure off of your neck muscles. And then you find another good spot. Sometimes it feels like there's speed bumps in there, and that's usually where those trigger points will hang out. Okay, and now to kind of do the next progression, another really great thing to do is to take your arm and move it across your body. Now what that does is it actually moves the shoulder blade and displaces it just a little bit, so you can get those spots and those trigger points that you normally wouldn't get with an arm in a normal position. So you're basically opening up the window in there to get some areas that are harder to treat. Okay, so again, across your body, and then kind of lean into it a little bit. Those areas that you weren't quite able to get to the first time, these are going to be more sensitive. So just hang out there for 5 to 10 seconds. Deep breaths in. And when that pain dissipates, then you can roll to the next spot. And release. Okay. Now I'm gonna move the camera down just a little bit so we can get to a lower section. Another really great area to roll with the tennis ball are the glutes and those hip rotators. Piriformis is the primary one. So you're basically gonna be sticking the ball right here, but you're gonna be doing it against the wall. Okay, you're gonna be pushing against the wall, and then you're gonna bend your knees and you're gonna roll up and down. And that piriformis muscle especially is going to be really tender. So when you find that area, just go ahead and hold it for a sec. And then roll again. And then if you want to get kind of the tendon attachment right where the hip is, you're going to kind of rotate your body just a little bit in towards the ball. And up, down. And again, any area that feels really tender and really sore, you don't want to be bruising the tissue, you don't want to over-treat, but you can put a little bit of extra pressure, or you can kind of go back to that spot. All right, Now, for those of you working at home, for those of you working at home that on a computer that have really tight forearms, another really great use of the tennis ball is actually going to be here on the forearms. And you can use it to push up against. You can kind of hold your forearm here, push up against it, especially as you get more towards that shoulder. Sorry, elbow. More towards the elbow, it's going to be a little bit more sensitive. And you can kind of roll, kind of pivot your shoulder, pivot your wrist, pivot your forearm, pivot your shoulder, however you need to get those spots while you're pushing against the wall. And it'll have a tendency to slip like that. You might have to readjust a couple of times. But this is generally pretty sore on pretty much everybody on a computer or on your phone. Okay. So one other thing too that you need to be kind of aware of is that you want to make sure and do both sides, so bilateral working. So you want to be concentrating on obviously the side that you have the most pain, but you also don't want to only be treating that side. We want to be balancing out the spine, balancing out the tissue. It's good for your actual soft tissue, but it's also good for your brain because your brain is processing all of these different areas that, all these different pain signals that are coming from the muscle to the brain. Your brain processes it and then sends it back down into pain in the body. And your brain can only process so many stimulus points from the muscle at once. So usually it's a hierarchy situation. The first, 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 layers of pain your brain will feel, but you've got a lot more going on, a lot of more layers to your pain than what your brain can process in any one given moment. I always like to say if our brain felt every single pain that was going on in our body, we just wouldn't get up in the morning because it would just be too much. So it's kind of a what they call that? Self-defense mechanism. So hopefully that's good. Hopefully that's some good information. I will be doing a few more videos here in the next few days to give you a few more suggestions on things that you can do at home until you can come in for your session. But I hope you are happy and healthy and well, and we will see you soon.